Hello, I'm Dr. Catherine Horton. Welcome to the Global Tsunami email campaign to save humanity. This is a big title, and what we're trying to do is no less. In fact, this is about crimes against humanity being committed globally, including or especially in the Western world, in the US and Europe, but also in other countries around the world. These crimes are being committed with electromagnetic weapons, microwave weapons, neural weapons. They are also committed with non-consensual implants and through the administration of also non-consensual, of nanotechnology to humans. And these are some of the most psychopathic crimes that one can commit. They are very covert. They are using the fact that electromagnetic weapons, for example, microwaves, pass through most building materials. So with that, you can shoot pulses through the walls of a home and hurt people inside. You can use that to hurt people clandestinely. You can use that to cause people clandestinely cancer and organ damage, heart failure, heart attacks, strokes, and also death. And perpetrators have been doing just that. The actual microwave guns themselves are very small, easily transportable, light and cheap to manufacture. And that is a toxic mix. It invites abuses, and horrific abuses have been committed around the world with these microwave weapons. What makes these crimes so terrible is that they are being committed by the intelligence agencies, so very powerful organizations with sprawling informant and operative networks that also have infiltrated the media organizations. So the media organizations have been instrumental in covering up these crimes. They all summarily refuse to report about these crimes. The police has been infiltrated and subverted as well. They are under orders not to investigate crimes committed with electromagnetic weapons, and this gives a blanco check to criminals and criminal elements inside our own law enforcement, intelligence agencies and governments to maim and murder and torture to their heart's content, and that's precisely what they have been doing. And the actual victims number not just in the thousands, but estimates say that there are several million of these victims, and there are thousands who have come forward and have always been ignored by the officials. There's an entry in the newest WikiLeaks Vault 7 release where you can see evidence that thousands of victims have been begging for help already 10 years ago. So since then, these crimes have just proliferated and have just expanded. So this is the background story. I myself, I'm an ex-research fellow from St. John's College, Oxford. I'm originally a high-energy physicist. I became targeted when, as part of my research, I attended a High Court hearing. I'm studying complex human systems, and my study my case study was the English legal system. I became targeted at will by British intelligence, MI5. I was harassed and then assaulted with electromagnetic weapons. I was assaulted also in Germany through German intelligence, and now I live in Switzerland and I'm assaulted non-stop by Swiss intelligence. This is 24/7 mutilation. I'm being shot into every couple of minutes, sometimes every 3 to 10 seconds. With high-power microwave weapons. I'm being mutilated in my sleep in every single room of my home. And I'm telling you this, not to say that I'm special, but to give you an idea, because what I've gone through, thousands and thousands of other victims report as well. And I just would like to say, if you're a victim, don't be ashamed to say these things, because we now know, we have evidence that this is exactly what the intelligence agencies have been committing. So please do not be ashamed or cowed or intimidated into remaining silent. Just come forward and join us. And what we're trying to do now is, we have realized that we are in this horrific situation whereby our intelligence agencies are in deep capture by criminal elements. they are actively seeking a global genocide under the misguided idea that 2/3 of the population has to be murdered for the species to survive. This is utterly misguided. And as a systems analyst, I can tell you that if we don't even have to kill 2/3 of the population, just any large fraction of the population, our systems will break down. And that's because most of the things we have, take even a normal toaster, consists of thousands of parts that are highly specialized and come from a highly specialized manufacturing process. I think a young man did a little experiment. He was trying to build his own toaster, and that's when he discovered that I think a toaster has about 1,000 roughly independent parts, and each of those parts comes from a highly specialized manufacturing process. And so, for example, the cabling, the casing has to be specially heat resistant and so on. And that is just one example. The same applies to absolutely everything we have, including the computers, but also the agricultural systems. And we just cannot do this. So there's absolutely no logical basis. In fact, as soon as we start killing large parts of the population, we will all die, because we will not be able to replace the know-how required or the actual objects that we use to survive in any way or form. So what this program is not founded in science, it's founded in psychopathology, in the psychopathology of the psychopaths who invariably rise to the top through a physical process, a statistical process, and then put our oldest and largest organizations into deep capture through their ideology, which is very much akin to the Nazi ideology. It is based on their own personal superiority above everybody else. It incorporates the right to do with others as they please. Other people have no rights. They're more akin to objects than actual people with human rights, and so on and so on. So what we have is a form of Nazi ideology that has infected, it seems, our governing institutions, and especially our intelligence agencies. And now these intelligence agencies are running amok, mutilating people to their heart content, and to their heart's content, and systematically destroying lives with impunity. Meanwhile, the police refuses to investigate. I personally reported the crimes against me to Swiss police, Swiss criminal police, Swiss military police, all of whom have refused to assist. The Swiss military police also staged what I consider to be an assassination attempt against me. I think they were involved. This is now in total my third assassination attempt overall. Every single time I was brutally shot in the head with microwave weapons as I was driving my car trying to cause an accident. So I've also been to the High Court in London trying to get an injunction against British intelligence, who are the original perpetrators who put me on this blacklist, this kill list. I failed. I witnessed what I consider to be also corruption in the Royal High Court. And everything I say is also mirrored by other victims. So I myself have experienced corruption in Germany with the German police, and also with British police. And every police force I ever contacted refused to investigate crimes against me. From other victims, I know that they have the same experience, and the map that is now assembled is one of large-scale crimes against humanity that are committed by the intelligence agencies and sometimes contractors, but with the full knowledge of the intelligence agencies, and with the connivance and the cover-up of the police. Other officials also know and are part of the cover-up, and now this email campaign is actually a drive to create public liability for all of them, to show to the world how many people know and how many officials have been told, and then roll it up, and then get rid of all the officials who knowingly didn't assist us. So this is the idea. It is about creating public liability for key officials, named officials. This is now the background. I put out many videos, and other victims have too, explaining the details of how these weapons work, what the victims go through and so on. But now I would actually like to focus on the campaign. So in the quickest form possible, the campaign is the following. We are contacting all US states, all 50 US states in turn, and we are contacting the 156 largest countries. And by doing that, we are contacting them over a 2-month period, and through that we let the entire world know about these crimes in a way that is documented, that creates public liability for key officials. So the way we do that is that we have every week 3 action days. These are Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday. So every week, starting from the 2nd of April to the 30th of March, we are emailing officials on these 3 campaign days, and we are requesting that they act immediately to stop these crimes by the 1st of June 2017. So the idea behind this is that on every action day, we are contacting 2 states, US states, and 6 countries. And we are contacting them in order of increasing population size. So the very first action day, we are contacting the 2 US states, Vermont and Wyoming, and then the 6th smallest countries in this list of 156 countries. If you want to follow what we're doing, go to the Wikipedia page. So there's a campaign schedule on my website. So you can go to stop007, that is stop007.org. And if you scroll down to the bottom, on the right hand side, you will find a field called Burning Down the House of Crime. If you click on that, that is the campaign site. Please bookmark that. If in the URL at the top, so when you clicked on this link, you put in at the end hash, so the hash is this pound sign, this little symbol, hash and then action day, all lowercase, and then click enter, that will jump within the site, within that page, to the section that will always include the email lists and the up-to-date contact lists for these officials. So, but in any case, this is what I think you should bookmark, and then you always jump to the most relevant section of the website. But what we're doing is we're contacting these countries that are on the campaign schedule in turn. So you either go to my website now, and there's something called the detailed campaign schedule, and there you can see all the action days and all the individual states, US states, and the countries that we're contacting. Or should you not have this document, and should my website be sabotaged by the intelligence agencies and this information be taken offline, you can also follow exactly what we're doing by going to Wikipedia and just listing the US states by population. So if you type US states by population, and you type countries by population, you will get these lists. And with the US states, you start with the lowest ones, and on every action day, we're contacting 2, so in pairs. So you go up in pairs. So you know the first 2 are Vermont and Wyoming, and then the second action day on Tuesday, that will be the next 2 US states, and then the next 2, and so on. So you can follow what we're doing, and you can do exactly the same with the countries. But with the countries, we're contacting 6 countries in on every action day. So this is the idea, and the idea is that within just 2 months, we want to let everybody know, and we want to contact specific officials and then be able to prove that these officials have been contacted. So the idea is that as soon as officials are contacted who have a statutory duty to assist, they absolutely have to investigate these crimes against humanity. If they do not, then one can take legal action against them. So this could be charges of malfeasance in office, official negligence, official malpractice, and so on. Dereliction of duty, even conspiracy, aiding, abetting crimes against humanity, and so on. So these are all serious charges because the crimes are extremely serious and they are being committed around the world. But now the idea is that on the campaign side, we are going to provide email lists and a template letter. However, we also encourage absolutely everybody to write their own letters, to add their own voice, because part of this campaign is to make all those people who have been intimidated and all those people who have been assaulted and sometimes just brutally mistreated to push them into silence. We want to help all those people find their voice, and we want to allow them to be able to tell their story. And by emailing officials, a lot of whom are under freedom of information laws, by emailing these people, you are also inscribing your story into the history books. So historians have got access to the archives, and as soon as you submit your story like that, historians in the future can find your story and know what has happened these days. So we're asking you to please add your own voice, take part. If you're one of these victims, please do let the world know your story and what has been done to you. So, you can write your own letters, and we encourage you to. Of course, if you use our template, we feel honored, but please also use your own creativity and add your own voice. And the same also applies to the email lists. And there especially, we ask you to use your local knowledge of your own US state or the country that you're in, and suggest emails to contact. So maybe you have got knowledge of people who are who have a statutory duty, who are obliged to investigate crimes against humanity and so on. And then please suggest these emails. On my website, there's also an email where you can send these suggestions for contacts. So there are 2 emails on my website. One of them is the campaign email, and that is separate. So the campaign email is the email that you should please include in CC, in carbon copy, when you send an email. And that's so that we can have a handle on these officials. So as soon as you include us, we get the email and we've got proof that a particular official has been contacted. We're not trying to check up on you, we're trying to check up on them. And we also get a feel for how many people take part in these campaigns. If an official is contacted by 1 or 2 people, that is different from the situation where an official is contacted by 3,000 people, all complaining about the same thing. So please let us know by including us into CC, and the campaign email that should be included in CC is 2017.tsunami@gmail.com. Now a separate email, and please use it separately, is only for the contact suggestions. And you can imagine that the campaign email will be swamped by people sending us emails by including us. So please put your contact requests onto this other email that is on my website that is specifically for these contact requests. So again, you get to the campaign website by going to stop007.org. You scroll down to the bottom, and on the right hand side there's a field called Burning Down the House of Crime. You click on that, and that's the campaign details. So you can also, when you're on that website, you can bookmark it, and I encourage you to put into the URL by hand, write in #action day or lowercase, and then press enter, and that will jump down to the website, to that section on the website that will always be updated with the newest action day, and please bookmark that. On most browsers, you can put a simple bookmark into your browser by just clicking on the URL, so the first field where the URL starts, clicking it, and then as you hold it clicked, you just drag it down onto the side, the bottom bar on your browser, and that usually places a bookmark there for you. So on every action day, there are 3 action days per week, and these are Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So on every action day, what you would have to do, just simply go to your bookmark, click on that, and then you will see the campaign page on the bit that is for that particular action day, and there you will find the template letter to send. If you write your own, make a backup copy and use that, and you will find email lists. So the email lists are, there's one document called 2 US states, There it lists in detail the function of these officials so that you know what their functions are. The second one is called 6 countries, and those are the 6 foreign countries and the names of the officials we contact there and their function. And then the third one is called copy and paste. And if you want to be really quick, that's where you go. You go on copy and paste, you click on that link or the little icon, and it opens up a PDF file. And you can just highlight the email lists, and the emails that are in the other 2 documents are all put into one. They are all separated by a semicolon. So if you just highlight that bit and copy, so that's Control-C on most computers, you copy it and then you go to an email client, and in the address field, you can just paste it in with Control-V on most computers. So taking part in the campaign shouldn't cost you more than 5 minutes on these 3 campaign days. And we want to make it easy for you so that you please do take part throughout the entire campaign. Maybe set reminders to yourself in your diary, or if you have a software, a calendar, please remind yourself on Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday. And should you miss a campaign day, you can always send emails later. So the entire point is to use this 2 months period to actually tell the entire world. It doesn't matter when exactly we tell them. It would be nice if we have this wave action, because then it has a lot of impact and people can see, but I encourage you to just send these emails. That's what counts, because as soon as you send the email, that's what creates the liability for these officials. And also it leaves an impression. And this is also why we encourage you to write your own text, because if you just use the template letter, then officials are likely to ignore it. However, if they have to read several hundred emails individually, then there will be a learning effect that we are aiming for. What we really want to do is let these officials feel the full force of humanity, and up until now it was very easy for them to get away with it, because what victims did is create victim organizations and then use those victim organizations to contact officials. So this was a few people contacting the many, and they just ignored the emails. However, when the many are contacting the few, that is a lot harder to ignore, and it still leaves an impression on officials when they come in on a Monday morning and they suddenly find thousands of emails, asking them to stop the attacks by 1st of June 2017. So this is what I would like to say. I hope I mentioned everything. I would also like to say, go back to the campaign website, because we might update it. We might update the actual email template as well. And you should also know that when you take part, you really help us to bring down a global crime cartel. These are global, believe it or not, these are global death camps, death camp experiments, and actual functioning death camps that have murdered a lot of people already, that are maiming and murdering as we speak. I'm one of the victims. If you look carefully, you can see injuries in my face. I have been mutilated today as I was trying to set up the campaign. The crimes are committed such that the intelligence agencies and the arms industry have developed these what are called mobile DEW units. So DEW stands for directed energy weapons, and you can imagine a directed energy weapon by taking your microwave, and that microwave that can make cook meat and make sausages explode if you're not careful. If you strip away the cladding, the actual emitter that makes the radiation that has this power is very, very small. It fits into your hand, and if you just take that, that's already a weapon. What few know is that if you hold it up against a wall, you can harm somebody on the other side of a wall. I tell you, do not try it, because you'll also harm yourself because of leakages and back reflections. So do not do that. But weapons, so you can imagine, if you look at how cheap your microwave is, you can imagine just how cheap these weapons are and how they proliferate by now. And as these crimes have been covered up for years, there has grown up a huge industry making these weapons, and people are being systematically assaulted. it's absolutely incredible. So what the intelligence agencies are doing is that they're placing down microwave guns that have the power of your microwave focused into a beam, and they are corrupting neighbors, and they're putting these down covertly around homes, and they're shooting into victims non-stop. They can see us inside our homes using radar devices and miscellaneous other means, but the sad truth is that now in the 21st century you can be seen in high definition inside your own home to people who have the right equipment, and that's what's happening. And people can be targeted with a precision that's certainly a centimeter, but in my experience also roughly millimeters or even less. And it's truly staggering, but this is the power of these weapons, and there are many other ways that they can be used to interfere with the human brain, to debilitate people, to change their moods. We have found the patterns for that, and this is now all in public knowledge. But even though it's public knowledge, even though the victims are public and they are begging for these crimes to be stopped against them on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all social media, the intelligence agencies simply refuse to halt these the large-scale genocides, the silent Holocaust. So it takes now the help of everybody around the world to stop this. So please come together with us, add your own voice, add the power of your own self to this, and help us make it clear to these officials that their career will come to an end should they refuse to stop these crimes against humanity. So thank you for supporting us. Please stay with us till the end of the campaign, and please also tweet this campaign to all your contacts and spread the word, and use every opportunity to speak up for us, because victims like myself, we need your help. These are truly frightening times we live through, and the fact that it has come to this, and the fact that in Europe and the US death camps are openly operated by the intelligence agencies is a situation that last time we had that, it was followed by a world war, and that is what we're trying to avoid. This is also why we're contacting all countries around the world, because we all have to work together to avoid a world war. So thank you very much for listening, and thank you for supporting us. Bye for now.